Okay, episode 5, chapter 5 of the book of Boba Fett. I have to be careful not to say the Mandalorian. You can get confused on these things. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd coming to you from Farpoint Studio. We are here to talk about Chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett, but in this chapter, little is said about Boba Fett, or do we even see the character. What we do see is what's happened to the Mandalorian since we last saw him in his encounter with Boba Fett in the last season of that show. And what we find is that since he has won in battle the dark saber from Moff Gideon, he is now using it as a bona fide weapon as he is continuing to bounty hunt. And in his latest mission, he's swinging it about and accidentally hits himself with it. He's still able to bring in the culprit, dead or alive, but he's injured himself to the point where he can barely walk. And so he goes seeking out his kind, who he finds not only can help him heal his wound, but also show him better how to handle the sword. Now, we find out about the Darksaber. It's over 1,000 years old, and it was crafted by a Jedi who was also a Mandalorian. An interesting thing there. We know the Darksaber now is the only weapon that can pierce Beskar steel, except for other Beskar. And we also find out that Beskar can only be used for defensive purposes according to the Mandalorian code. So Din Djarin has to hand over his spear and have it melted down, in which he has a creative use for that. Next thing he does is he goes to visit his old friend Pele Motto, one of my favorite characters, played by Amy Sedaris. I think that she could just sit and read a book and would be as entertaining as anybody you can see on the screen. So we're glad to see that she's back, and she was trying to find another ship for him. He wanted another Razor Crest. I didn't realize that Razor Crest was a type of ship rather than the name of it, but it makes sense in the lore that the Mandalorian wouldn't name a ship. He would just, they would just be, there's the Razor Crest, that's my ship. She shows him what she's found, and it's nothing like the Razor Crest that he had, and he feels a little cheated on this, but she says, no, this is going to be much better, and they proceed to rebuild this hulk of a starfighter. It is a Naboo N1 starfighter, which was commissioned by Queen Amidala herself, and it was probably the same ship that Anakin Skywalker flew. How it would get to Tatooine would be that particular mission that they flew. And the Naboo technology, of course, while being 40 years old in the current story, certainly has some tricks that don't match the other ships that are around at the time. It has great speed, and after taking it out for a test spin, Mando comes back and says to Pele, "Wizard," which is the same term that Anakin used when he had a similar exaltation at fast transportation. So anyway, this is what's going on here, and we find out about various things in this episode, kind of background information. We expect that the Mandalorian and Boba Fett will meet up now because of what happens at the very end of this episode, and so we're looking with some interest in seeing how they go together. We find out a little bit more about Jawas. Apparently, Pele was able to get most of the parts for this ship due to being able to make deals with the Jawas, and because she'd actually dated one. And what this means is that the Jawas are compatible with humans, and at the same time, she is able to describe kind of what they look like under all the robes. You never see their face, you never see anything under them. Same thing with the Tuskens. They're all wrapped up and disguised in things like this, and it suggests that the difference of their dress, both being indigenous to the planet would indicate that there were different kinds of terrains on it at one time. At any rate, we do have the Jawas described as being furry. She mentions that on several occasions, which is to say that she's seen Jawas without their clothes on before, so that should be kind of an interesting little thing there. The whole episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, which indicates why it was so good. This was probably the best of the series, and not just because Fett wasn't in it, but certainly it moved fast. There were action scenes. There was fill-in on the lore. There was it moved along at a very fast pace. I think it was a very good episode. I'm glad that I saw it, and I hope that you will too. That's The Return of the Mandalorian. That's episode 5 of the Book of Boba Fett. I'd like to hear what you think about it by putting it down into the comments below. And of course, if you've not subscribed or you have not clicked the little bell so you know when the next video is coming your way, I hope that you will do so. It'll help the channel and also help my spirits. So why not? It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't. I don't think that it has any other bad characteristics. So please do that if you will. Okay, so we will keep a lookout on what happens next, and we hope you'll join us next time. And until then, don't go far.